In the world of online gambling, few games are as deceptively simple, yet as dangerously addictive as crash games. Whether it's Aviator, Spaceman, JetX, or one of the dozens of clones flooding casinos worldwide, the premise is always the same. A multiplier climbs. The higher it goes, the more money you stand to make. But at any second without warning, it all comes crashing down. Cash out too early, and you leave money on the table. Hold on too long, and everything you've built evaporates in less than a second. The question that keeps players hooked has no easy answer. When is the right time to cash out? It sounds simple enough. You put in a bet, watch the multiplier rise, and hit cash out before the inevitable crash. But as anyone who has played these games knows, the reality is brutal. The crash is always waiting. And unlike blackjack or poker, there's no dealer to outthink, no opponent to read, just a cold algorithm running in the background. The entire game is about timing, and timing is unforgiving. The rise of crash games started with Aviator. When it first hit the scene, it was different from anything else casinos were offering. No reels, no cards, no dice. Just a plane flying upward, and with it, your potential payout. The simplicity made it feel fair. Everyone could see the same multiplier. Everyone had the same shot. But that illusion of fairness is what draws people in deeper. What most players don't realize is that crash games are not about luck alone. There are patterns, strategies, and psychological traps that determine who walks away a winner and who leaves empty-handed. Take the concept of volatility. On the surface, the game looks random. Sometimes, the plane crashes at 1.05x, barely giving anyone a chance. Other times, it soars past 100x, making you wish you'd held on just a second longer. But beneath the surface, these games are programmed with return-to-player percentages and mathematical balance. The system ensures that, in the long run, the house always wins. Yet within that framework, players can find short-term advantages if they know how to time their exits. The problem is that most players don't. They fall into one of two traps. The first is cashing out too early. Maybe they've just lost a big round, so when the multiplier hits 1.3x, they grab it immediately, terrified of losing again. They win, but barely enough to matter. The second trap is the opposite, holding on for too long. Greed whispers that maybe this round will be different. Maybe the multiplier will hit 20x, 50x, or higher. They hold on, and within seconds, it's gone. The balance in their account drops to zero, and they're left staring at the screen in disbelief. So, how do you cash out at the right second? That's the question every crash game player wrestles with, and it's where strategy comes into play. The first thing to understand is that you can't predict the exact crash point. No system, no software, no special trick will give you certainty. But what you can do is tilt the odds in your favor by managing risk and using proven strategies that exploit player psychology and statistical tendencies. One of the most effective strategies is the double bet method. Here's how it works. You split your stake into two bets simultaneously. The first one is set to auto cash out at a low multiplier, say 1.5x. It's safe, reliable, and keeps you in the game. The second bet, however, you let ride. Sometimes it will crash early, and you'll lose that portion. But other times, it will climb, and that's where the big payouts happen. This method balances security with opportunity. It ensures you're never walking away empty-handed while still giving yourself the chance to hit life-changing multipliers. Another approach is the low-risk grind. Instead of chasing huge wins, you consistently cash out early, usually between 1 tucks and tucks. It sounds boring, but the mathematics of it are surprisingly powerful. By securing small, frequent wins, you avoid the emotional roller coaster of constant losses. Over time, this steady accumulation can outperform the erratic, high-risk style most players fall into, but it requires discipline. The temptation to hold on just 1 second longer will always be there, and that's what makes or breaks this strategy. Then there's the high-risk, high-reward method. This is where players chase multipliers above 10x, sometimes even aiming for 50x or 100x. Most of the time, they lose. But when it hits big. The problem with this method is that it's essentially gambling in its purest form, hoping for a lucky streak rather than building a long-term edge. Yet, in communities built around crash games, these are the stories that get shared. The player who turned 5 into 500 with one perfect cash out. The streamer who hit 200x live. These outliers fuel the dream, and that dream keeps players hooked. But strategy alone isn't enough. To consistently cash out at the right second, you need to master the psychology of the game. Crash games are designed to exploit human instincts, greed, fear, and regret. Every crash feels personal. Every win feels like proof you're onto something. The reality is that the game doesn't care. The algorithm isn't rooting for you or against you. It's just running its math. The key is learning to separate your emotions from your decisions. This is why bankroll management is as important as timing. No matter how good your strategy is, if you risk too much in a single round, one bad crash can wipe you out. The smart players set limits. They decide in advance how much they're willing to lose in a session and stick to it. They set target profits, and when they hit them, they walk away. It sounds easy, but in practice, walking away is one of the hardest things to do. Think about how many times you or someone you know has said, "Just one more round." That one more round is where casinos make their money, because eventually the crash will come, and when it does, it erases everything. Timing your cash out isn't just about reacting to the game, it's about controlling yourself. There's also the concept of pattern watching. While crash games are technically random, players often look for streaks. If the last 5 rounds all crash below talks, many believe a big multiplier is due. Others think the opposite, that long runs mean a low crash is coming next. Both approaches are dangerous, because the game doesn't work that way. Each round is independent. But the belief in patterns is so strong that it shapes how players act. And sometimes, perception itself creates opportunity. When most players are being reckless, the disciplined ones find their edge. Consider Aviator. At peak hours, tens of thousands of people are playing at once. You can see their bets, their cash outs, their wins, and their losses in real time. This social element adds pressure. If you see someone cashing out at 20x, it makes your 1.5x exit feel small, but that's the trap. What you don't see is the dozens of times they lost chasing that multiplier. Crash games weaponize comparison. They make you question your choices. They make you believe you're missing out. The smartest players ignore the noise. They focus only on their plan. The same applies to Spaceman and JetX. Different visuals, same mechanics. A rocket blasting upward, a ship breaking through the atmosphere. It doesn't matter what the animation is. The core principle never changes. Multiply your bet until it vanishes. The art is cashing out before it does. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. There is no perfect second. There's no magic number, no guaranteed timing. The right time to cash out is the moment you stick to your plan. Sometimes, that means taking a small win. Other times, it means holding on a bit longer. The point is that you're in control. Not the game, not your emotions. You. Because when you strip away the flashing graphics and the hype, crash games are just another form of gambling. The house has the edge. The players are chasing dreams. The only thing separating winners from losers is discipline. At the end of the day, the question isn't just when to cash out. It's whether you can walk away satisfied, whether you can leave the table without regret. Because no matter how high that multiplier climbs, the crash is always coming. And it's the players who understand that, who plan for it, who manage it, who walk away ahead. And if you want more breakdowns like this, deep dives into the games people play but few understand, make sure you hit subscribe, because we're just getting started. The world of online gaming is full of hidden mechanics, untold stories, and strategies that casinos would rather you didn't know. And if one video can make you rethink how you approach games like Aviator, Spaceman, and JetX, imagine what's coming next. So don't miss it. Subscribe now, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next one.